You ever notice that? How you can sit through a presentation and long after all the charts and numbers have vanished from your mind, a single good story, that's what sticks. Since the beginning of time, really, we've used stories to make sense of the world, to connect with each other. It's this timeless, powerful magic. And today, we're going to peek behind the curtain and see exactly how that magic works. So let me just ask you that straight up. Why? Why do we remember stories, but we're so quick to forget plain old facts? I mean, you can listen to a dozen statistics, and they're gone by the time you reach the parking lot. But one compelling story, that can stay with you for years, maybe even a lifetime. What's going on there? Well, it's not a bug in our system, it's a feature. To really get that question answered, we've got to look at the science. Because our obsession with stories, it's not just some cultural thing. It's baked right into our neurology. There is a massive difference between how our brain handles a list of bullet points versus how it gets completely swept up in a story. And what if I told you the difference was this big? Yeah, research from places like Stanford has shown that a story can be up to 22 times more memorable than just facts alone. 22 times. That's not just a slight edge, that is a cognitive superpower. And it makes sense, right? It's an old survival instinct. Remembering the story about which berry was poisonous, that was life or death. Remembering the exact number of leaves on the plant, not so much. Okay, now this is where it gets really cool, because this slide shows us the why. When you hear a fact, only the language parts of your brain kind of light up. It's like turning on a little desk lamp. But when you hear a story, your brain lights up like a city at night. Your sensory cortex kicks in like you can actually smell the campfire. Your motor cortex fires up like you're the one running from the danger. Your emotion centers connect you to the characters. A story isn't just listening, it's a full brain simulation. So here's the bottom line, the big takeaway. Our brains are not hard drives, just storing random bits of information. No, they're designed to find and store meaning. Facts are just data. But stories, they give us the context, the emotion, the cause and effect that creates meaning. And that is what our brains are built to hang on to. All right, so now we get why stories are so powerful. But how do you actually build one? Let's get practical. Our first framework is this brilliant, super straightforward formula. It's designed for immediate impact, whether you're pitching an idea or trying to win someone over. It's called STAR, Chain, Hook. And it's as easy as 1, 2, 3. First, you need the star. That's your big, bright, attention-grabbing idea. Then you've got the chain. That's the series of logical facts or reasons that connect that star right to your audience. And finally, the hook, a super clear, compelling call to action. So for example, the star could be, what if you could learn a new language in just 10 minutes a day? The chain would be all the data on microlearning, maybe some testimonials. And the hook? Download our free trial and have your first conversation by tonight. See? Star, chain, hook. Simple, but so powerful. Okay, on to our next framework. Now, if star, chain, hook is like a sharp precision tool for making a quick point, this next one, this is the master blueprint. This is the template for pretty much every great story ever told. We see it in ancient myths, in Hollywood blockbusters, and yeah, even in the stories that founders tell to get their companies funded. It's called the hero's journey. So this guy, the scholar Joseph Campbell, he studied myths from all over the globe and discovered this one single unifying pattern. He called it the monomyth. And the basic idea is that all great stories are really just one story. A hero gets called to adventure, they face some kind of huge crisis, they win, and they come home totally transformed by it all. Sound familiar? It really should. Now, this whole journey usually breaks down into 3 main acts. First up, you have the departure, where our hero has to leave their normal, everyday world. Then comes the initiation. This is where they face a bunch of trials and tests, and it all leads up to this one central crisis. And finally, you have the return, where the hero comes back home, but they're different now. They have a reward or some new wisdom. It's such a brilliant way to frame any struggle as a journey toward growth. So we've got these incredible frameworks, star, chain, hook, and the hero's journey. But underneath it all, there's this one fundamental principle that really makes them tick. It's the engine that drives every single narrative forward. It's the one thing that a story literally cannot exist without. So let me just ask you, what do you think it is? What's that engine? What's the one thing that keeps us turning the page or completely glued to the screen? It's not just about having cool characters or a crazy setting. It's something way more basic than that. It's this: conflict and resolution. That's it. Every single story is about a problem. It's about a gap between how things are and how they could be. The story builds tension around that problem. It pulls the audience in, it makes us care, and then it gives us a resolution. That cycle of tension and release is what makes a story so addictive. And this graph just illustrates that perfectly. Look, we start at the bottom, at a baseline. Then a problem shows up, and you can see the tension just starts to climb. We follow that line up, 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 through all the challenges and obstacles, all the way to the peak. That's the climax. And then once that peak is hit, whoosh, the tension just releases into a satisfying resolution. That arc, right there, that is the heartbeat of every great story. Okay, so we've dug into the science, we've unpacked the frameworks. Now what? Now it's time to put all this to work. Because this isn't just interesting theory. This is a critical tool for absolutely anyone who needs to inspire people or build a team or, get the resources for their next big thing. And I'm not just saying that. This is very real, very practical benefits. I mean, research from the Academy of Management Journal literally found that for entrepreneurs, telling a compelling story is directly tied to getting the funding they need. A good story doesn't just entertain. It builds trust, it makes you seem legitimate, and it inspires people to invest in your vision. So, I'll just leave you with this final thought. You've got the science now, you have the frameworks, you know what the secret sauce is. The only question left is the one that really matters. What story are you gonna tell?